Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Now, Gerald Celente joins us for the next 45 minutes, and I'm very honored to have him. You know, he had his big issue that came out at the start of the year titled The Next Great War, 21st Century, The Next Great War. I forget the exact headline. It was a newspaper-style headline. We can pull it up and put it on screen, or the man himself can give me the exact headline. I'm on the road, so I don't have it in front of me. And for a lot of us who research history, we're like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Well, no, it's not for the general public. But Gerald specifically called it and said they're going to try to start a wider war. And they're trying now. The difference is this plot has got people left, right, center, you name it, intelligence agency people, retired, high-level experts. I already listed it earlier, coming out and saying this is manufactured, this is a fraud. The affidavits have now been seen, total setup. It is just crazy what's happening. Now they're calling it the greatest economic crisis since the Great Depression. Now they're admitting we never left the recession, when they called Gerald Celente a pessimist porn dealer, when they called me a lying kook. The truth is the system knows what it's doing, but it's busy robbing everyone. Gerald talked about the euro falling apart 3 years ago. Now it's doing it. But the white shoe boys, as he calls them, want to get more power out of the crisis that they have created. So, Gerald, there's a lot going on in the world. I wanted to get you back on because so much has happened. And the establishment lackeys are trying to launch this new war. What do you make of this, and what do your other analysts there at the Trends Research Institute make of this, Gerald?
Well, it's exactly what you said, this latest Iranian fabrication, and how they keep teaching us to hate the Iranians. What have they done to us recently, you know, other than us trying to steal their oil going back into the early 1950s, when we, along with the CIA and the MI5 over there in the UK, overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in 1953, because Standard Oil and British Petroleum, of course, they were Anglo-English, I believe, Anglo-Iranian in those days, who were controlling the oil fields. So what are really, I mean, Iranians didn't invade Afghanistan. I don't believe the Iranians invaded Iraq either. Didn't the United States start a war against Iraq and Iran? Oh, and the Iranians, they didn't invade Libya, did they? So these terrible Iranians, so now they're prepping us to hate the Iranians again. And when all else fails, they take us to war. This is what we wrote in 2008 when the TARP program began. We said they were building the bailout bubble. And when all else fails, you can see it happening. The crash of '29, the Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars, world wars, the panic of '08, the Great Depression that we're in, the currency wars. The Senate just passed a currency bill against China. China has responded that trade wars are beginning. The financial cabinet minister of Brazil, Manteiga, currency wars are underway. Panic, depression, currency wars, trade wars, real wars. The world is at war. Only an idiot or somebody totally out of touch can't add it up. Let's go around the globe. Tunisia, Egypt, Yemen, now Saudi Arabia, Libya, Syria, Bahrain, Morocco, Algeria, Nigeria, Somalia, Ivory Coast. Go over to the UK, riots in the streets this last summer. Over in Spain, take a trip over to Greece. Hey, now right here in the USA, this whole Occupy movement, it's in Denver, it's in Portland, it's in Seattle, it's in San Diego, it's in Los Angeles, it's in Auburn, it's in Trenton, it's in Atlanta, it's everywhere. Birmingham, Phoenix, San Diego. Sacramento, it's spreading. The first great war of the 21st century has begun.
And Gerald, when people lose everything, they lose it. We've just been covering common sense history. You've been boiling it down in a very concise way, but then you and I still, and others, get demonized by the establishment. They think they have more credibility because they're always proven wrong. But as you've said, they're not really wrong. They're there lying to people. And so we see the mainstream media actually hemorrhaging viewers and support. Where do you see that going? I mean, how long can the limp-wristed establishment whore media pacify people when everything they say is basically a twisted lie?
I mean, how long could the prostitutes keep playing prostitutes?
Yes.
You know, how long does a prostitute become a prostitute? They die as prostitutes. They live and die by it. These people have no backbones, with the exception of a very few. They keep sucking up and bowing down and serving their masters for their pay. So you're not going to, by the way, nothing is going to change with the systems that are in place. So when you look at all these protests, by the way, I mentioned Tunisia, I mentioned Egypt. Here's the new boss, same as the old boss. All the rioting going on over there in Greece every week. Massive riots, demonstrations. Nothing changes. The systems have to change. So now this is really, I have to tell you, I gave up on the American people. I thought that they were a bunch of mommies, boys, and spoiled girls that wouldn't be fighting. This movement has really legs to it. It may not, this might not be it. But when you put the Tea Party together, you put this together, you look at all the social unrest around the world, no, what they're going to do, what the media is going to do, is they're going to prop up the war machine.
Gerald, what do you make, though, of all the teleprompter readers I've been watching at CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CNBC, Bloomberg? The talking heads are, yes, Iran's got the nukes. We've got to get them. They launched this attack. But it doesn't matter if it's Clinton, Bush, Bob Baer, Anthony Schaefer, Colonel. I mean, the list goes, I mean, it's literally 50, 60, 70 I've seen. I can't keep track of it. They're all coming out saying it's phony, it's bull, it's a distraction for Fast and Furious. That's one of the first times I've seen where the teleprompter readers don't know what to do when every analyst they've got on is saying this is baloney and actually thinking about government staging a crisis for political control. So that shows that reality is really starting to seep in on the prostitutes.
Oh, yeah, it's seeping in, all right. And, there's a lot of people in the military that don't want another war. I mean, Gates didn't want the Libyan war. You go back and read the lines that were coming out of the Pentagon. They were against this thing. The three witches of Macbeth, that are alive today, Hillary Clinton, that Rice over there, Samantha Rice over at the UN, or whatever her name is, something Rice, and Powers and National Security, these three women are the ones that pushed it on us, and it's still going on. This one that was going to be a humanitarian mission to save the people. Have you looked at the photos of these bombed out cities? And not one of the prostitutes are reporting the amount of dead Libyans.
Well, they're also...
And then they come out with the arrogance that, hey, them Iranians over there, they were trying to kill a Saudi. They better stop this. Yeah, while the United States is bombing Libya, bombing Afghanistan, we have troops in Iraq, Predator drones flying into Yemen, killing our own citizens without a trial. How about a couple of Predator drones flying into Pakistan? Hey, watch out for them Iranians, even though it's coming out as another big lie, from the Gulf of Tonkin, that never happened, that killed 60,000 of our troops, wounded over 300,000 for the Vietnam War, killed millions over there. Even though the big lies of they don't have weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda in Iraq, what this Iranian thing does, you see, Alex, for the people that don't know, they pick up the soundbite. And now they hate the Iranians. So now what they'll do, even if they lose on this one, it's another one under their arm, another piece in the book, So when another false flag comes and they throw another war on us, they'll add up enough to get a lot of the sheeple to follow. Remember,
well, that was my next point. They're already saying... No, you're right. They're already saying that, well, you don't buy this? We've got more fake Iranian stories about to come out.
Exactly. When all else loses, they take you to war. These are sociopaths and psychopaths. You could call them presidents or prime ministers. You could clean it up any way you want. You have to call a spade a spade. These people are sick. They're mass murderers. Can anybody say that line? They're mass murderers. They're killing innocent people for fake reasons.
Well, you're saying it, and it's true. I mean, take this Fast and Furious. The court documents are all there. It's in the El Paso Times, Chicago Tribune, 4 or 5 other big papers have been doing series on it. But it's not just ATF ordering gun shops to sell guns to illegals and drug dealers. That's a cover story. The ATF, in one shipment alone, it's now in the court record admitted, shipped 2,000 guns to Sinaloa drug cartel and allowed them to ship tons of cocaine in to launder it through U.S. banks. They're caught red-handed, Gerald, just like Bank of America caught stealing houses they don't own. I mean, when you say they're criminals, they really are. I mean, it's one thing to have boss hog, corrupt government. We've had that before. But now it's not enough. Now the criminals want to stick their hands down our pants. Now the criminals want to set up checkpoints on the highway. Now the criminals, I mean, they've got checkpoints now 100 miles into Texas where they just let the illegals drive through, but pull citizens out of their cars, put dogs in them. They ask me, they say, I want to search your car. And I say, the government deals drugs. The Border Patrol is in the government documents letting through certain shipments. I don't deal drugs like you. I mean, how obvious does it have to get? And where is it going with these crooks? Because, Gerald, they know we're waking up to them, and so they're just trying to waddle in now and say, we're taking your rights because, look, hand puppet, scary Iranian, he's going to get you.
And they're doing it worldwide, by the way. They're doing it in Italy, they're doing it in Spain, they're doing it in the UK. They're cracking down more and more on the people as they keep losing control. And that's what's really happening. So you see, what this is really about is that the bottom line has collapsed. The world is in the Great Depression. There's no way out. They're blaming others. Look what's going on over here. We heard Timothy Geithner going over to the European Union meeting over there and telling them to get their act together and straighten this mess out. Oh, yeah, like they could fix it. You know, Sarkozy and Merkel are getting together, putting their heads together. You know, Laurel and Hardy are going to fix the whole problem.
All they know how to do is steal.
Exactly. So then they're blaming the Europeans. They're blaming the Chinese now. What I'm trying to say, what I am saying, Alex, is they're diverting the attention away from the big issue, and the big issue is this. You talked about all the criminals. You talked about them in the TSA. You talked about them with the FBI. You talked about them with Homeland Security. You talked about them with the government.
Stay there with the big point. Stay there, stay there. We got to go to break. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?